Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Monday, June 30th, 2025, and today's topic I'm going to call detail versus overwork. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day and I use a timer to stay focused and to build a habit. I'll start a 10-minute timer and I'll post a link to yesterday's video, which you can see how I came up with the layout for this page, or like the sketch for it. I'll work on it today and I'll put up a before picture over here. I couldn't resist working on it, so it took about an hour. I'm liking it, but I thought that it would be where I'm at right now would be a good time to talk about like detail versus like overwork. So I'll just get warmed up by working on this part. But yeah, yesterday's video shows exactly how I did it. This one actually started, I was just looking at like a little thumbnail like on Pinterest. However, like all these details, like the characters and stuff, like you can see this one, I just sketched it out of imagination but added details. And that's what I did with all of them. And that's what I'll do today. I'll talk about like how to detail stuff, because this is moving into detail, although there's like some areas like this, for example, is not detailed. So I kind of see something, and that's where like the detail versus overwork comes in. Like, one is if you have to fix something, you've basically stepped into the realm of overwork, although it may not be that big of a deal. So I kind of see like that the face is kind of going. So this is a fine line. I'll just stick with it. I would recommend sticking with one pen, although I used both, like a fine liner and like a medium point right here. And so the paper does matter and like the ink and stuff, but I would use whatever I have anyway. So it matters, but like you could still make it work either way. So what I'm going to do is just kind of play around, and I'm going to use this like fine point. And so there's several things. One, I'm going to get warmed up. But then the first question could be, just to stick with like the topic, is, am I overworking this? Well, I'm not at this point. And that's why I enjoy sketching, because a lot of times when you're sketching, you're not going to overwork it because you're sketching it. So kind of like this, you're just kind of putting in some ideas. However, in the sketching stage, that's why I like to use some kind of timer, whether it's to sketch quickly, or like I'll set like a 5-minute timer, for example. Or the other way would be like down here, whereas I'm working on this, I wanted to work on it, just like with these. Like from yesterday, it was just like a circle. It was just an oval. But I just started a timer, and what I've noticed is that, again, just intuitively, because I'm just working on it, I'll get to like 30 minutes, and that's usually a good time. That's when like the overwork thing will start to happen, is what I'm saying. Then that's a good way to kind of step away from it, because that's important. Like that's where the overwork comes in. It's the same with this. Like after I had done like all this, if I had tried to work on this one, I probably would have overworked it, which means like I wouldn't know exactly like what I was wanting to do, because that's a big part of like the adding detail while not overworking it. That can be applied to stuff like drawing the face, for example. So you'll notice that a lot of times I'll leave the face kind of less detailed, because that's where a lot of the overwork like comes in. And even if you like detail the face and spend a lot of time on it, because that's what I used to do, and that's what I notice a lot of beginners tend to do, is like focus on like the face. The problem is then you start to, number one, either the face looks really great or like really detailed, and then everything else doesn't. So there's that issue, because like you spent all your energy doing the face. Or the other thing is that, what was I going to say? See, and that's what happens. And that's the other thing. You'll notice that a lot of times I don't do this on camera. It's because it's like a visual thing. When I'm doing this, to not overwork it. So that's why if I'm recording it and I'm talking and I'm doing this, a lot of times I'll just do what's most obvious. And I'm not going to... And going back to what I was saying about like leaving the face. Like I'll leave it because that's the part where it takes the most sort of visualization, like concentration. I'm just going to keep darkening this. This is kind of an approach to drawing the face. And like sometimes, depending on, because this is like a composition, like a sketch page, because I'm basically using this as my sketchbook. Sometimes this is like the look, kind of like that might be the best look. And that's more of a focal point kind of thing. That's why I like to kind of do it like progressively all together. So for example, like this needs work, obviously. But like it doesn't look terrible, like even though the rest of it's kind of detailed. Part of that is just motivation. I mean, if only one little section is detailed, because I'd started detailing this one, and then the rest of it I didn't have, but I kind of like quickly sort of moved around. That's good just for like the whole like composition, but it's also good for your own kind of motivation, because then it seems like if this is all that's detailed, then you're going to feel like you have to do that with all of it, which you don't actually, and it may not look as good if you did do that. So this is what I mean by like detail versus overwork. Like you may not need to do like a ton more than this, but let's just kind of check it out. Or this is without reference, it's just from imagination. But like this had started just by like kind of looking at something. Like if I feel pretty okay with it, I'll leave it, because part of it is I kind of want to do something here. So over here, if you're using like two different pens, you have some choices. So now that I've gotten this far, like with this area, to kind of sync like this sketch back, you could just kind of sketch something kind of like this. It's like a collage, but then so you could leave it like that, because part of it is like the line width affects things. You have to experiment with it. That's like the artistic aspect of it. But yeah, like the line width in general, if you just do this, it's going to look further back than like a thicker line, obviously. But then there's also the thing of, I use both here. The complexity or like the detail of it, the subtlety of it makes it stand out also. And also the fact that it's like this big like face right there. So you'll notice like I wasn't sure what to do with this figure. Like that might be it. But then if you want to sync this back a little, you could, this is like one way to kind of like push it into the background. So that, and that's just because like this figure, and that's because of the collage aspect of it also, the composition. And then you can make up stuff. I like doing this because characters will appear. Like this guy kind of looks like maybe he's holding an axe. I'm just like making that up. Or yeah, like something like that. Maybe right here. But it can be kind of implied. I mean, it doesn't have to be. So kind of like this. And just, it depends on how much you want reference. I'm definitely not opposed to using reference. I'm only opposed to it in the sense that if the picture looks boring, I'm opposed to that. Or if it like gets in the way of like me like drawing something, like then I'm opposed to that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like if I look up like a battle axe, like it'll give you some ideas. But I mean, if I'm just gonna sketch it out, I would just do something like this. Could have some clouds, and then the clouds could be more like this would look the most faint, like this right here, the thinnest line. If I stipple it, it'll look the most fine. And then the other thing is sometimes you'll get these accidental things. So like right here, maybe could become clouds, and that was just kind of an accidental thing. Same with this, like I could look up some clouds. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it gives you ideas. And then these were just random marks that I had done, but it kind of looks like birds, so maybe play around with that. So I'll just kind of wrap it up and just kind of, I think this one is a good example of what I mean about like detail versus overwork. So it could use some more detail. I might do the next video about like drawing shadows, because shadows are shapes. So for example, let me just do this. So notice that like that is a shape, and it has like a value to it. But you have to see it. Otherwise, you'll just kind of like overwork the picture. Especially if you're using pen. And yeah, you will mess up. I mean, the other day, like I had to redraw something because of stuff like this. Like if you go too dark with it, then you can't take it back. You have to paint over it or something. But you can't force it, and that's kind of why I like to do this, is because it makes you have to think about what you're doing. So that's just some ideas, and that'll be it for today's daily sketching routine. I want to thank you for joining me, and if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it, and until next time, keep on sketching.